Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
Okay, we are going to talk about price gouging in Los Angeles because of the wildfires. There have been reports of price gouging. We actually have proof, potentially, of over 1,200 cases of price gouging because there was a Google Doc online. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all that. We're going to show some of the specific houses, like how much they were for rent and how much they went to. And then we'll talk about it, like the theory of it.
Right.
Okay,
so if these sort of videos interest you, which is real estate and currently what's happening in real estate, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Like the video and share the video. It helps the channel and you get to spread the word. Go.
Okay, Juana, what is the difference, not from a legal standpoint,
Yes.
economically, between price gouging and market value?
Good question. I love that question. So price gouging is where something happens, whether it's a hurricane, a fire, earthquake, whatever, flood, whatever, and the service providers or vendors in that area charge an exorbitant amount for the same goods and services that they were charging considerably less for before the event. And the government tends to define that as anything over 10%. So in California, gouging is anything over 10%. So after an event like the wildfires or floods or something like that, the most that you can charge for goods and services above and beyond what you were charging previously to the event is 10%. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you were charging $10,000 a month for a house. The most that you can charge for is, drumroll, $11,000. Easy math. If you want to go to $20,000, eek, that would be considered price gouging. Now, how do we differentiate that from market value?
Yeah, that's a question. Because I'm going to go, I have the legal definition for the state of California, and then we're going to do the examples after that.
So market value. So let me give you an example on market value. So let's say that, something happened and that $10,000 house is now $11,000. Great. The $11,000 house gets put up because they're following the law. It's not more than 10%. They're following the law. And so what's the market value of that house? Well, considering that there's a shortage of homes at the moment, particularly, nice homes, because that's primarily what was affected, then, maybe you could get $15,000, $17,000, $20,000 a month for the house, but the government says you can't charge that. So then, but the value is more, right? Because people are willing to pay you more. You have people calling you and saying, hey, I will pay you, whatever, for the house above and beyond the $11,000.
Yep.
So that's what market value is. Market value is when people are willing to pay you more than what you're asking for it in this case. So that's what market value is, what a buyer is willing to pay and a seller is willing to accept, right? So in this case, what can happen? Well, we can give a really fun example. So some of you are going to hate this and some of you are going to think that it's completely yummy. So going back to my example of the $10,000 versus $11,000 house. So let's say that, I have my $11,000 and Todd has his $11,000 and we both go to somebody who owns a home and we say, I want to rent the home, and he says separately that he wants to rent the home. Great. We both have $11,000. That money spends the same. However, I do not have other things of value. So maybe Todd does. So maybe Todd has, maybe he has something like an annual pass to go skiing at Squaw Valley. Maybe he has a second home in Vail that he's willing to let the landlord stay in for 2 weeks next winter or this coming summer. Maybe Todd has a friend that maybe this landlord happens to do business with, that this friend can then give the landlord another contract or more business. So Todd has other things of value to that seller than I have. All I have is my $11,000. That's all he's going to actually pay is $11,000, just like me. But he has other things of value to entice the seller, or in this case, the landlord, to choose him over me.
Okay, here's the actual definition. This is under California's Penal Code Section 396, which you can Google. Rent increases are capped at 10% above pre-emergency levels. Violators currently face fines of up to $10,000 and up to 1 year in jail. Now, Juana, it's not uncommon that long-term tenants that you can. There's a lot of states have limits as to how much you can raise the rent, right?
Right.
Here is an example. I'm going to put this up on the screen for them to see. This was a house that was listed for rent. Now, it wasn't actually, didn't have a tenant. It was just on the market for rent at $8,955. I don't know why people do that. It's $9,000, okay? It's $9,000 a month. And it went, that was in December. On the 10th, which is right basically when the fire started, 50% increase, $13,500 per month. Now, there's a reason they did this. Like, there's a reason they're like, oh, hey, do you think it's possible that they get no action? And then all of a sudden, a ton of phone calls come in, and the agent calls up the guy and goes, hey, look, I just got 12 phone calls. Everyone's saying they'll pay over, $9,000. What do you want to do?
Right. So I've actually had that experience. There was no event or anything. It just happened to have been a desirable home in a desirable area. We priced it at, let's say, for the sake of argument, $2,500. And I had multiple applicants.
Okay.
And so I went back to all the applicants. I said, look, all of you have these, 10,000 credit scores, right? Just these amazing credit scores. All of you are very well qualified. All of you make $1 million. You're all fantastic. What's your point of differentiation for the landlord so the landlord can make a decision between the 5 applicants? And so the 5 applicants ended up offering more money to rent the house. And the landlord ended up renting the house for substantially more than the amount that we were asking.
That's called market value.
It's called market value.
Okay.
So, this kind of goes to this point that you're making. Is in this particular instance, what may have happened is they had the home listed for virtually $9,000. They were inundated with inquiries. So they needed to reduce the number of inquiries so that they could actually process them. And so they raised the price so that they could limit the inquiries and then really deal with the people that were willing to pay the most for the house, market value, and maximize the amount for the landlord, and all's going to be well. So this is not necessarily nefarious. I appreciate that if you're the one trying to rent, this is negatively impacting you, and I do appreciate that. But on the other hand, it is just market rent.
Okay, here's another one. This is very similar. So this it came on the market the 1st of December for almost $10,000, $99.50. On the 8th of January, it went to $15,000. Now remember, it's got no action, and then it jumps up to $15,000,
Right.
50%, another 50% increase.
Right.
Okay. I also found, so here's the interesting thing. So somebody started a Google Doc where they basically scraped Zillow and they pulled out all of the data for every rental that's had a price change. And this is online. You can find this online. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to put this up in here and talk about this. There is information on here, which I will probably have to block out because I think if there's emails or stuff like that, it doesn't let you put it on a video. Google or YouTube hates it when you do that. But what we have here is we have on the left-hand side, you can see the numbers on the left. That's the number. So at 1,250 at the bottom, this is the bottom of the spreadsheet. There are 1,250 houses that have had price changes. They just dumped them into a Google Doc. If you look at the one next to the bottom, Tellefson Road in Culver City, it was listed for $12,500 a month rent, and all of a sudden on the 16th, it changed to $15,000. You can see the date that it changed, or that's that date, the 16th, the 9th, the 15th, the 10th. They're all kind of in this time frame. Here's a bizarre one, $46,000 a month. Now it's $175,000 a month. That's got to be like a mansion or something. But these are pretty crazy. You've got a $5,001 for $94.50. That was listed on Redfin's website. Almost every one of these is a dramatic increase. Now, the average person is going to look at this and go, well, I can't afford any of those. Like, okay, here's one, $36.50, which is probably a normal median rent for LA, for a house. For not like Pacific Palisades or whatever. $7,500 is like double. It's double. First of all, does the state have there could be thousands of these. Does the state actually have the resources to go after thousands of people who are going to fight and say, no, that's not what happened. we were underpriced. We put the wrong amount in the MLS. The agent, we had a misunderstanding. Like, how does that work?
So, you ever drive down the freeway and maybe the speed limit's 75 and maybe you're going down the freeway, maybe you're doing maybe 90?
Yeah.
Did you get caught every time? Hypothetically, if you had ever done it, hypothetically, would you have gotten caught?
Probably not.
Probably not. Same thing with this. Look, I mean, if you're speeding, you're not going to get caught every time. Same thing with this. They're just rolling the dice and seeing what's going to happen. The state doesn't have the resources to deal with it. And honestly, I don't even know that they actually have anybody dedicated to doing it. So not that I'm encouraging anybody to do it, but I don't know what resources they have to go after this. And it just seems that a state that is struggling with so many things, this does not seem very high on that agenda, except maybe to make news, but not to actually have any action.
I pulled up this one too. This was on, found it online. But what it shows is the price per month. Now, what's interesting is to the average person who maybe who's watching this from other parts of the country are going to be like, 33,000, that there's a house there, it's 4,000 square feet, 33,000 a month. That's the monthly rent, okay? Yeah, it's in Beverly Hills, but it's a 4,000 square foot house. Like, why would you pay 33,000? Like, what would the house have to cost? How much would the house have to be for the rent realistically to be that much?
Okay, so let's kind of stop for a minute. This is the asking price. Can the house rent for less?
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Can the house rent for more? Yes. This is the place where we start the negotiation. That's all.
These are all homes that just came on the market yesterday. This is one day ago. They just came on the market. A 2,000 square foot house in Whitley Terrace for 10 grand. Coronado, which has got to be one of the nicest places to live, you could definitely rent a not really nice 2,000 square foot house for under $10,000 a month. And this is just in LA. Here's one in Sherman Oaks. It's probably a nice area, but it's 1,600 square foot for 6,000. That may be kind of in line. Bottom line, Wanda, is, let me show this chart here too. So what I did was I went on Realtor.com and I pulled up that whole area where the fires kind of went through and just took out a bunch of the area. And look for any new listings that have come on the market in the last week or 14 days. And this area that you're seeing there's nothing. Now, there's probably 1,000 or more homes. There would definitely have been a couple homes come on the market in this area. You can see on the edges, as you get over like towards Santa Monica, you see some houses there. And actually, when I went over to Santa Monica, it was lot. There were a lot of houses you could buy in Santa Monica in that area. But then all of a sudden you go this way and there's nothing because this area has been devastated. But what's going to happen, I think, is you're going to have people, are you going to have opportunistic sellers now? Because here's the thing. There's a law that says that you can't raise rent by a certain amount. It's price gouging. But what about, I wasn't thinking of selling my house. I know it's worth $4 million, but I'm thinking about putting it on the market for 5 or 6 and seeing what I get, seeing if somebody will take it.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. To me, it's like all the bedroom communities, right, for all these areas, they're going to see an influx of people because people need to go somewhere. These people aren't leaving. They're not going out of state or they're very far away. Their jobs are here. Their families are here. Their schools are here. Their lives are here. That the fact that they will consider relocating in time, maybe. But they are, for the most part, most of them who this is where their lives are, they're staying. They're just going to have much longer commutes. They're going to have just their lives be turned upside down, but they're staying. And we know that because, for example, here in Las Vegas, as soon as the fires got going, everybody said, well, all the Californians are going to come here. Well, you know what? I haven't seen rentals fly off the market, and that's what's going to fly off the market first, right? Because when somebody leaves there and comes here, the first thing they're going to do is rent so that they can figure out the area, they can figure out if they really want to be here. Everybody kind of tries to figure out what neighborhood they want to be in and that sort of thing. So, and we haven't seen that. So it's going to take time. In the short term and in the medium term, people are going to stay locally, as close to where their homes were as possible. The long term is a separate issue. People will obviously consider their options as homes can continue to be scarce in Southern California, continue to be expensive in Southern California. People will weigh their options and figure out if they want to remain there long term or not. But short term and medium term, you're going to see people remain in Southern California.
You have less homes in the area than you used to.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to get rebuilt anytime soon. It's probably going to take 15 years to rebuild all the houses and all the neighborhoods. You're going to have home prices. So you have a housing crisis, not enough homes. And now you have even less, so you're going to create even higher prices in all the other areas. And you're also going to have higher ongoing rents for the future. So yes, there may be some limit, 10%, but could you imagine if 10% a year, prices double in 7 years? Mm-hmm. So that $4,000 a month house you're renting, you're thinking, oh, I'm good because I'm in a lease. But if it's year-to-year lease, expect your landlord every year to be cranking up the rent. And we say, why are you raising it 10% every year? They're going to say, well, because I keep getting people call me going, hey, if you've got something for $5,000, I'll take it. You're paying $4,000, and I would love for you to move out. Mm-hmm. But you want to stay, I have to raise your rent. So I think that's going to happen. Unfortunately, it's this terrible situation, but it's very difficult for market forces, even if it's called gouging or whatever, to get around that, because people, two people get together, make an agreement on something, they're both willing parties. There's no death on the line. It's not like if you don't drink this thing, you're going to die and it's $1 million, or I just withhold it from you, right? That's a little different situation. Or the guy that bought the drug and then he jacked up the price.
Right.
Scully, remember that?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it. We just wanted to do a video just on the price gouging because we got all these great examples and have a conversation about it.
Right. So if this was interesting to you, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, like the video, share the video. Leave us your real estate related comments. We welcome them, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.